Talk about the sterling financial performance for the year 2014. FBN Holding Company brought that to bear in the Nigerian financial sector. For the 2014 financial year result, it met parameters above 2013 with sterling performances in its net interest income, gross earnings, profit before tax and other indicators, despite regulatory headwinds in the banking sector. To cap this, the FBN Holding Company held its third annual general meeting where shareholders and the board reviewed the performance of the holding company. In its financial statements, the auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and the audit committee gave the Holdco a clean bill of health.
The scope and planning of the audit were adequate in our opinion. 2, the accounting and reporting policies of the company conformed to statutory requirements and the agreed ethical practices. 3, the internal control was being constantly and effectively monitored.
It was an opportunity for shareholders to also make their comments and observations on the 2014 financial year result of FBN Holding.
Particularly, Mr. Chairman, we will not fail to recognize the over 3 trillion on customers' deposits. It is a wonderful performance. First Bank has been a leader in it, and they are growing so far.
I want to commend the board on the acquisition of Kakawa Discount House 100%. I think it's a very good investment, and I think going forward, it will give us that window of actually operating the merchant bank.
I'd like all of us to please kindly give a round of applause to the board and management of this bank for the wonderful results they have produced. And
in this response, the group CEO of FBN Holding, Mr. Bello Mashido, assessed the performance as remarkable and also gave new indications of what will make the Holdco company become more viable and sustainable for shareholders.
I am sure as shareholders, you can all see very clearly that the year 2014 was a watershed year for FBN Holdings because we had been able to post very impressive performance across the group. First of all, looking at our top line revenues, we grew our numbers from over 396 billion to over 480 billion, representing over 21% growth within 1 year in revenues. And secondly, in terms of profit before taxes, we were able to jump from 91.3 billion to 92.9 billion, representing 1.6 billion in absolute growth in the year 2014 alone. So clearly, our results of the year financial year 2014 have been impressive. And of course, leading the way has been our crown jewel, our flagship commercial banking group, led by First Bank, that also raised its revenue figures by 21% over the period, and also raised its profit before taxes by over 5.9 billion.
It was an opportunity to also get the view of the group CEO, Mr. Bello Mashido, the group managing director of First Bank Nigeria, Mr. Olabisi Anasanya, and other key officials of the bank on the performance of FBN Holding Company alongside shareholders.
Yes, I have to commend them because I know they did well. I have to commend the holdings of paying 10 kobo dividend and a scrip issue of 1 for 10. I know they did well because if you compare what they paid and what they give to us, they give us like, for example, 1 naira 5 kobo. Because last year they gave us 1 naira 10 kobo. So compare the market price of the shares, they did well to us. And I believe by God willing, by next year, the shares will go up and the dividend will go up also, as how the chief executive mentioned earlier.
Looking at recapitalizing from retained earnings and building a stronger institution so that we don't come back to the market so soon to raise capital, tier 1 capital, in a market that is not very deep, and that is not very liquid today. And that explains why our shareholders gave overwhelming support to the resolution for 10 kobo dividend coupled with 1 for 10 bonus shares.
Clearly, shareholders want an institution that continues to have the capacity to deliver and match competition in the marketplace. That is calling for additional capital infusion, because our capital adequacy issue is quite important and it's a measure of not just of size but also of capacity. So we decided as a board, rather than distribute our earnings, to retain the earnings in order to strengthen the institution so that we continue to be able and capable in terms of capacity and performance.
The chairman of the group mentioned the fact that in the aftermath of the introduction of Basel II Capital Accord, more capital is required generally for all the banks. For us, there are two options. Either we go to the market to raise additional capital, or we increase our retention rate. Consciously, given where the market is today, we have raised the retention level within the institution, which means we will not be calling on our shareholders to bring in incremental capital. So in the long run, we expect the dividend payout, the dividend level to go up over time.
Well, let me start by saying that the performance of FBN Group in the year 2014 has been a very impressive and remarkable performance. If you look at our numbers, we were able to grow our gross earnings from 390 billion to well over 480 billion. That's about 85 billion increase in gross earnings. Likewise, on profitability, we were able to raise our profit before taxes from 91.3 billion to 92.9. That's an increase of 1.6 billion just within the space of 1 year. What has been able to contribute to our success, number one, is the way we remodeled our business within the First Bank Group. Number one, we have been able to deepen what we call transaction banking. That is able to enable us drive deposit mobilization as well as drive fee income growth across the group. The second is what we call enhancement of what is called value chain banking. In the past, we had focused heavily only on the top tier big corporate names, but we realized that by focusing not just on the corporate names but also on their suppliers, on their distributors, on their subcontractors, you can actually enhance the share of customers' wallet. So on the basis of this, we were able to accomplish very good numbers on the commercial banking side. On the investment banking side, we were able to take advantage of reforms that were taking place in the power and gas sector, as well as reforms that were related to divestitures by international oil and gas companies. As a result of these reforms, our project finance teams at FBN Capital was able to drive very big ticket project finance deals that have enabled us to post very impressive numbers. Thank you.
As earlier stated, 2014 was a difficult year in the financial sector, but FBN Holding Company met its parameters in increasing forms. We can just expect that with the recent acquisition of merchant bank license from the central bank, shareholders can look forward to another impressive financial year.